You've prayed, you've fasted, you've even changed your prayer time to 3 a.m., but still, something heavy lingers in your home every December. Maybe it's the way your child suddenly fears the dark again, or how your finances tighten right before Christmas, no matter how hard you work. Perhaps it's the dreams, vivid, unsettling, where you're eating, but the food turns to ash in your mouth. I know that weight because for years I helped design it. In the occult systems I once served, December isn't just a season, it's a spiritual harvest window. And one of the most effective tools we used wasn't a curse, a charm, or a whispered incantation, it was food. Specifically, three common foods served in homes, churches, even Christian gatherings, carefully positioned to carry unseen covenants into your body, your bloodline, and your breakthrough. You weren't warned, not because no one knew, but because those who did were either silenced or still serving the system. I walked away, not just in body, but in covenant, in spirit, in truth. And now I carry a burden to stop another believer from unknowingly inviting December's hidden assignment onto their table. What I'm about to share isn't theory, it's testimony. It's not speculation, it's strategy, exposed from the inside. And one of these foods, it's likely already in your kitchen. Stay with me. This truth may change your December forever. My name is Adumensema. For 13 years, I operated in the inner councils of a transnational occult network with strongholds in the Ghana-Togo border region, specifically Aflao, and extending into the forest shrines of southern Kaduna and the riverine covens of Ondo State. I wasn't just a follower, I was an enforcer of seasonal covenants. My initiation occurred at 16 beneath the twin baobabs near the Aflao customs post, where my grandfather's bloodline had served as gatekeepers for 3 generations. There, I drank from a calabash mixed with palm oil, fish broth, and the ash of a yam offering, all consumed on December 3. From that night, I was assigned to the December Harvest Unit. Our task was to ensure that during the 24 days leading to Christmas, specific foods were spiritually charged and distributed, often through unsuspecting vendors, well-meaning relatives, or festive gatherings. Not to kill, but to bind. We studied how believers prayed, how they celebrated, even how they shopped in December, and we weaponized their trust in tradition. I saw believers break generational curses in July, only to unknowingly renew them by eating a single bowl of porridge in December. That's why I speak now, not for fame, not for fear, but because I know what's hidden in plain sight on your holiday table, and I will not stay silent while your freedom is served on a plate. What I'm about to reveal operates under a system we called the 3 consecrated foods of the December covenant. These are not random superstitions. They are deliberate, spiritually encoded vessels activated every year between December 1 and 24, designed to re-anchor generational assignments through ingestion. Each food corresponds to a specific gateway, one for bloodline memory, one for spiritual surveillance, and one for covenant renewal. You may have heard warnings about charms or amulets, but no one warned you about the stew, the fish, the porridge, because the real weapon wasn't the object,
It was the timing. I'll reveal when exactly the activation occurs, and this one will shock you. One of these foods is served at Christmas dinner in over 60% of Christian homes across West Africa, unaware it's a vessel. Biblical anchor, Leviticus 5:9. He shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, and the rest of its blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. In the Levitical system, blood and oil were never separated when consecrating a sacrifice. That principle was twisted in the occult, where blood couldn't be seen, oil became the carrier. In December, palm oil, especially the red, unrefined kind used in soups like egusi, abenkwa, and groundnut stew, is ritually repurposed. Not all palm oil is compromised, but during the December window, specific batches are awakened through midnight libations. Here's how it works. Coven elders select oil presses near shrines or ancestral burial sites. On December 1, 3, or 9, dates aligned with the dark moon, they pour libations of gin, blood, and graveyard soil into the press before extraction. The oil produced that day isn't just food, it's a covenant fluid. When a believer consumes it before spiritual covering, especially before 3 a.m. prayer, it bypasses the soul's defenses. The oil carries embedded assignments directly into the bloodstream, and because oil is fat soluble, it lingers in the body for weeks. Case Study A. Relatable Failure, Keta, Ghana. A Sunday school teacher in Keta bought fresh palm oil on December 10 from a vendor near the lagoon. She used it that evening to cook contomere stew for her family. By December 13, her 2 children began sleepwalking, always at 2:47 a.m., heading toward the beach. They'd wake up ankle-deep in water, shivering, unable to recall why. She'd prayed, anointed doors, even changed their beds, but she never considered the oil. The breakthrough came only after she fasted, declared Leviticus 5:9 over her kitchen, and disposed of the remaining oil in running water while quoting Psalm 24:4. He who has clean hands and a pure heart.
Case Study B. Shocking operational detail. In Ijebu-Ode, Nigeria, our coven buried a live black hen beneath a community palm press at midnight on December 1. The bird's final breath was captured in the oil extracted the next morning. Every bottle sold from that batch was marked with camwood ash, nearly invisible. When consumed before prayer, the eater's spiritual frequency synced with the hen's death cry. That made them trackable. We could sense their prayer times, their weaknesses, even their unspoken fears. Their prayers weren't weak, they were blocked. And the most chilling part? The oil was sold openly in the market. No one suspected a thing. Your prayers weren't weak, they were blocked. This isn't about fear, it is about awareness. Because once you know the mechanism, you can dismantle it. Biblical anchor. Hosea 4 verse 8. They eat up the sin of my people and set their heart on their iniquity. This verse is rarely quoted in full, but in the spirit realm, it's a blueprint. To eat the sin of the people is not metaphor, it is mechanism. In December, smoked fish, particularly Titus, mackerel, or herring, smoked in rural kilns, becomes a spiritual sponge.
not because of the fish itself, but because of where and how it is processed. Many smoking sites in West Africa are located near groves, riverbanks, or abandoned shrines. During December, these spaces are reactivated. Coven members perform end-of-year audits at these sites, speaking names, sins, and soul contracts over the smoke that cures the fish. The fish absorbs not just flavor, but spiritual residue. When you consume it, you ingest more than protein. You absorb echoes of vows, curses, and confessions spoken over that fire. And because December is a season of spiritual reckoning, the impact multiplies. Case Study A. Relatable Failure. Techiman, Ghana. A small business owner in Techiman hosted a staff appreciation dinner every December 18. He prided himself on using authentic smoked fish from a trusted vendor in Koranza. But after 4 years of consistent financial breakthroughs, his business began collapsing in November 2023. Account frozen, clients vanishing, contract voided. He fasted, rebuked demons, even changed his church. Nothing changed. Then, during a deliverance session, the pastor asked, "What did you eat on December 18?" The man recalled the smoked mackerel soup. The vendor's smoking hut stood behind a shrine dedicated to a river spirit. The fish had absorbed nightly invocations for wealth transfer. By eating it, he had unwittingly ratified a covenant of loss. His prayers weren't weak, they were blocked. Case Study B. Shocking operational detail. Ogbomosho, Nigeria. In Ogbomosho, during the December full moon, our coven gathered at a hidden smoking kiln behind an old cocoa farm. We whispered the names of targeted believers, many of them faithful churchgoers, over trays of fish as they smoked. But we didn't stop there. We monitored their digital activity. One woman in Ibadan frequently posted prayer requests on WhatsApp, often late at night. We used her WhatsApp messages as a spiritual map, matching her emotional tone, her scriptural references, even her typing patterns, to imprint her spiritual signature onto the fish. When she later ate smoked Titus at a family gathering, her own prayer language was turned against her. Her intercessions began looping in silence. She would pray for hours, yet feel nothing. On the 4th night, her phone buzzed. A voice note from an unknown number said, "You have eaten what you asked for." Your prayers weren't weak, they were blocked. This is why discernment matters more than appetite. Biblical anchor, Deuteronomy 12, verse 30 to 31. Be careful not to be ensnared by inquiring about their gods, saying, "How do these nations serve their gods? We will do the same." You must not worship the Lord your God in their way. God forbid even inquiring after pagan practices, because imitation begins in curiosity, not conversion. In December, yam porridge, often seen as harmless, even nourishing, becomes one of the most spiritual volatile meals, not because of yam itself, but because of what's added during preparation: coconut milk, special broth, or even seasoning water from unknown sources. In occult practice, yam represents sustenance and lineage. When cooked with ritual emulsions, coconut water blended with blood, graveyard soil, or ashes from December sacrifices, it becomes a vessel for covenant renewal. The porridge isn't just food, it's a sacrament of assignment. And because it's often served by elders, relatives, or blessed cooks, believers lower their guard. That's by design. Case Study A. Relatable Failure. Buea, Cameroon. A final-year university student in Buea struggled with sudden anxiety in early December. On the 21st, her hostel matron, a woman known for caring for the girls, brought her a warm bowl of yam porridge, saying, "You need strength for exams." The student ate it gratefully. By Christmas Eve, she confessed to recurring thoughts of self-harm and an inexplicable urge to return to her mother's village, a place tied to a broken fertility pact in her maternal line. During counseling, she recalled the porridge had a faint metallic aftertaste. The matron sourced her coconut milk from a woman who doubled as a shrine attendant near Moliko. The meal reactivated a womb covenant dormant since her grandmother's time. Her prayers went weak. They were blocked. Case Study B. Shocking operational detail. Zaria, Nigeria. In Zaria, our coven prepared yam porridge on December 22 for a targeted harvest dinner. The broth wasn't from meat. It was boiled from the stomach lining of a ram sacrificed at dawn. We added water drawn from a well that once served a 19th century slave market. Every spoonful carried ancestral memory. A young believer, invited by a Christian co-worker, ate the porridge thinking it was a gesture of goodwill. He had just received a job promotion, but by January he had lost it, along with his peace, his marriage, and his voice in prayer. He couldn't understand why. We knew. The goat died at dawn. That was the exchange. His breakthrough was traded for someone else's generational advancement. Your prayers weren't weak. They were blocked. This is the quiet war waged on your dinner table. I share this not to frighten you, but to equip you.
Fear paralyzes. Truth liberates. You are not helpless. You are not doomed to repeat December cycles. The same God who exposed these mechanisms through a redeemed insider has also provided the way of escape. For each of these three foods, there is a biblical response, rooted not in ritual, but in revelation and obedience. For palm oil. If you must use market-bought oil in December, do not cook with it before spiritual covering. Begin your day with Psalm 24, verses 3 to 4. Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? The one who has clean hands and a pure heart. Then lay hands on the oil and declare it severed from every covenant not of Christ. Better yet, use oil you've personally sourced and covered in prayer since November. For smoked fish. Avoid bush smoked fish from unknown vendors between December 1st and 24. If you've already eaten it, do not panic. Instead, fast one meal and stand on Hosea 6:7. But like Adam, they transgressed the covenant. Declare that in Christ you are no longer under Adam's broken agreement, but under the new covenant in Jesus' blood. Renounce every spiritual residue attached to your consumption. For yam porridge. Never accept it from strangers or even well-meaning relatives during December unless you know the source of every ingredient. If you've eaten questionable porridge, do not wait for symptoms. That same night, gather your household and pray Deuteronomy 28, verse 12 over your home. The Lord will open the heavens to bless all the work of your hands. Then renounce every food-based covenant in Jesus' name. This is not about legalism. It's about discernment. December can be your month of breakthrough, not bondage, if you guard your table as fiercely as your prayer closet. Because your prayers weren't weak, they were blocked. But today, the blockage ends. Someone you know is eating these foods right now unaware. Maybe it's your sister preparing stew for Christmas Eve, your brother buying smoked fish for the office party, your child accepting porridge from a neighbor's hand. Don't let silence cause their breakthrough. Share this. If you are applying this truth tonight, if you are covering your kitchen, checking your ingredients, and reclaiming your December table,
Comment "Delivered" below. Your declaration strengthens the body. This is Exposed by an Insider, where hidden things are exposed for your freedom.